Welcome to KSOK Uncensored. Tonight we have an amazing guest who's actually a local here in Portland. We have Krista Hilton, who is the founder of Drunk Republic and the host of Drunk Politics. She's really cool. We have a lot in common. And actually, the only reason we were even introduced to each other is because we had so many folks that follow us and subscribe to us that were like, why aren't you guys friends? So here she is. Let's go ahead and bring her on in. Hey, Krista,
Hi,
how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So much going on right now. When I was prepping for the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, where where do we even start? Um, but I was looking over your social media page, and I can see that you're on top of it. So I think we should just dive right in, and then we can work
I love
backwards
that.
and talk a little bit about you. But let's just one thing I want to start with is the fact that obviously everybody knows, I would say almost everybody out there, unless they have their head in the clouds, what's happening in Ukraine right now. It was inevitable when you have the leader of the free world who really should be in an old folks home being spoon-fed oatmeal. This is what we just saw play out yesterday, and what we see happening in Taiwan is what's bound to happen when you have such weak leadership. And as I know, I mean, really, out of the last 7 presidents, Trump was the only one who didn't have a war under his belt. And in my opinion, the reason for that was his incredibly strong leadership, and the fact that he didn't back down. Also, that he made friends. You know what? Keep your enemies
Yeah,
close. He made
friends
friends with
and your
some of the
enemies
most
closer.
dangerous people, right? Like it's like a loose term, but seriously, keep your enemies close. So, initially, what are your initial thoughts on what is playing out before our eyes today?
I think that um, what we see right now is we don't really know what exactly is happening. I'm pretty sure that this has nothing to do with what the news says it has stuff to do with, and that what we're seeing has to do with the biolabs all around the country. So I don't think that Russia is necessarily the enemy. I think that they're probably trying to destroy something we're trying to hide.
You know what? That is absolutely something I've been looking into also, and this is where so many people that don't do their own due diligence and look around, they have no idea what you're talking about right now. And that's just and that part's sad, right? Like the whole thing is so much of what we see on mainstream is optics and propaganda and cover up, and so it is wild. That's why I posted something last night. I'm like, all right, what do you guys think? Is this propaganda? Is this legit? Like, so it's so tough for us to really understand the true objective. And like Biden likes to say, this was inevitable. No, it actually wasn't.
No,
That's
no, it
why
wasn't.
4 years there was zero activity, right? So, because he knew not to mess with Trump. Um,
Yeah. I've been watching going on to Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat for anything other than the heat map thing where you can like zoom in on the area
right.
and look at like what's going on in the area because people tag like the city or whatever. And there's action over there. So it looks like there's legit things going on, but it'll be really interesting to see or hear from people that are actually there of like how much the news is actually blowing it out of proportion.
Right. Right, right. It just makes me flash to India when the coronavirus, they were saying, "Oh, it's killing people are in the streets dying." There's like an old rusty oxygen tank, and they found that picture was like
Yeah.
4 years old. It's like,
Yeah.
come on. So yeah, so
Yeah.
it's tough to really know what's legitimate and what's not. I want to
Yeah.
just dive into for everyone watching. And Christy, you probably already know this, but I went and did some digging, and I just was curious because I'm always like, okay, so we're putting sanctions on Russia, which is poking the bear. I wanted to see really what the implications are, and I just went for the top one, the obvious oil, right? So the daily U.S. consumption. I thought this was really interesting, and it does change now. I went and found pre-pandemic numbers first. So I have December of 2019. The daily United States consumption of oil was 19,475 barrels a day. In December of 2020, so the pandemic's in place, it drops down to 17,177. Still a huge number, but it did drop because of work from home and with the pandemic. So we have those huge numbers. And then I look in Russia, as we all know, it's one of the largest oil producers in the world. So looking at that, in Russia, they produce 10.1 million barrels a day. 7% of the US's oil comes from Russia. So with that said, let's see here. So in November of 2021, 178, we're taking 178,000 barrels per day. And that's according to the EIA. So the Keystone pipeline that was canceled, Biden's like signing his executive orders day one, cancels the Keystone pipeline. That would have brought us in 830,000 barrels a day. So there is absolutely no reason that we should be depending on Russia for oil when we have it here on our own soil. How frustrating is that?
It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating because the reasons for shutting it down are so silly.
Right. Right.
They make
Along
no
with a lot of the
sense.
logic on the left.
And honestly, really, so we're going to shut it down on our soil, but then we're going to pay someone else to literally ship it over here. What are
Right.
the environmental implications on that?
Right. The emissions. I mean, it's like, seriously, people. Yeah, there's no logic there. That's why it's liberal
Wait,
logic.
what?
There isn't any. It's insane. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. It's
Doesn't make it.
optics. It goes back to what you and I discussed when I was on your show. It's like this fake compassion coming from the left. I mean, we were specifically speaking about Portland, but it's really the
Yeah.
left as a whole. We care. We love everybody. We accept everybody. And we love the land. We love the animals, but they don't have any clue. As long as it's not within, their line of sight, they have no idea the larger implications that there are involved with shipping it in, especially from Russia, who has, forever been there's always been turmoil there. It's not a
Yeah.
when Trump was in office, but it's just not a smart move whatsoever. As
No,
you
it's really not. We're lied to so much about Russia too. It's just so silly. Like,
right,
we've been lied to about Russia for so long. Like, what really though? Really, what is Russia all about? We don't have
right,
any idea. And
right. It's true.
and they did. I saw one of the comments, Russia, Russia, Russia for 4 years. Yeah, Russia, Russia, Russia for 4 years. Now they
Yep.
want us to think that Russia is attacking Ukraine when they've literally lied about Russia for 4 years. Okay,
Right,
but you've
right,
obviously lied about it for a lot longer. And now
right,
you
right.
want us to believe that Russia just wants the resources or wants to take
Yeah,
back Ukraine because they feel like they put their big boy pants on. Get out of
right.
here.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence, and
No.
look what is playing out. I mean, and then we have now I know there's always activity in Taiwan, right? We all know China's been wanting to take them back. But the
Yeah.
thing is, right now, I feel like these types of leaders, they're like, oh, they have to one up each other, right? Like, so China's like, oh, well, look what Russia's doing. Well, let's get our names in the news too. So now, I know there's activity in Taiwan right now, and it's something where there is activity often there, but you
Mhm.
never know. Could
Mhm.
this be it, right?
Yep. Yep. All of our world leaders are currently applying the Chewbacca defense. Look at the monkey.
Oh
Well,
my
there's
God.
been a lot of comparisons to Star Wars since this started going on, and I just think that that's funny.
You know what? What it's lost on me because everyone's going to judge me now. I know it, but I've never watched Star Wars, and
Oh
so
gosh.
I know. Do we need to have a movie night? Maybe.
We should probably have a movie night. I
Yeah,
didn't really watch Star Wars at all until I had a son, and he was obsessed from like a very small age. So it's
that's
by
really
default. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that happened. That's like mine with Godzilla. I've seen every single Godzilla movie, the ones in Japanese. I mean, I've seen them all. I never thought I would
Okay.
ever be watching such a thing.
Watch Godzilla.
So yeah, Godzilla. I can tell you, I can pretty much repeat one of the Japanese versions back to you. But
Oh, that's
but
funny.
anyways, oh goodness gracious. Okay, so what are your thoughts on, we see shots in the Ukraine and where people are, it's like a run on banks, really. And so I'm
Mhm.
just curious what your thoughts are on Not that it's necessary, but do you think we're going to have a run on banks here in the States just due to the fear mongering?
I don't know. I got a call from one of my friends in a small town over on the coast earlier, and she's like, "It's starting. The grocery store is packed, and the gas lines are so long." I was like,
Oh
I'm
boy.
not seeing that here in Portland. I went and
Yeah.
picked my son up from school, and like everybody seems like they're going about their business as normal, probably because they're not paying attention. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But the gas prices were higher today. I did notice that.
Yeah, yeah, and I haven't gone out. That's something I I wanna go see what's going on. I wanna go feel it out. I haven't left my house yet today. But, it very well could be that, the majority of people that live in Portland are watching CNN. So, whatever
Mhm.
CNN's telling them, that's probably why they feel confident or whatnot. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's something where I don't feel like it's necessary for people to go, withdraw their money. I always think it's smart to have some cash on hand, but seeing all of those posts with people wrapped around city blocks withdrawing money out of the ATMs, I'm like, ooh, I hope that
No.
doesn't inspire people to do that stateside.
Well, I just think that, I mean, it's so hard to know what to do with your money right now, after what we saw Canada try to do. Not that the
Right,
United States would do that, but not that they won't. And
right.
so, whilst it's not a good idea to crash the entire banking system by everybody
Right.
pulling their money out at once, I think having some, cash on hand and being able to diversify your investments at this point is a really good idea.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I was like looking at my 401k the other day, which they say don't do it if you're not even close to retirement. But I'm like, what's the point? What's the
You're
point?
like,
Pull it out, buy property. That's kind of where I'm at. Take the
yeah,
tax up
me too.
front. I know
Mhm.
it's like seriously, I feel like, and I was always the person that was like 20%. No, not anymore. Not with this leader. So,
No, mm-mm,
yeah,
no,
no, I'm with you.
I think buying up bare land is, like, my go-to. It's going to
Oh,
be
I
my
love
go-to.
that. We should
Yeah,
talk for sure.
we
I
should.
mean,
Mhm.
seriously, it's a commodity, a hot commodity. I mean, and it's so needed right now. I mean, everyone
Yep,
needs their bug out vehicle, their bug out gear, and
everyone.
then a bug out chunk of land that you can go live on. That's
Mhm.
just my opinion. I've been looking for one for a few years now. So yeah, we should talk on that for sure.
Yeah, we should
Um,
definitely do that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the southern border. And this is where like
Okay.
last night I put a video out because as you and I both know, the social media is just completely infiltrated with everything Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Rightfully so. It's very unfortunate what is happening right now, but there is so much happening stateside that it's a huge distraction. And part of me, like you said, is it intentional? This is an election year. Is this distraction to let's cover up everything else that has been going on so that people's focus isn't on all of the corruption here in the United States. So when I think of, for instance, our southern border, and one, again, I'm just going to say on the record, this is not our war. We should not be going there. This is something we just need to stay the hell out of it. It's funny. I do more research on the Vietnam War, and it just pisses me off because I
Mhm.
just look into and I'm like, I know what the hippies were talking about. I get it. I probably would have been one
100%.
that way. So,
Yeah, we're the
so
new hippies.
seriously, it's like we don't need to be fighting everyone's battle for them. I am so sick of it. We are in
No.
no
Me
place to go rescue people when we are a complete mess. So the southern border, right? So I pulled some numbers here. So I went and polled before Trump was out of office, right? So I polled November 2020, and the average monthly amount of migrants coming over 5,777. So and that alone is a large number, but
Yeah.
uh, fast forward to Biden being in office, December 2021, 79,678 is the average monthly. So we had over 2 million, so far since Biden has been in office coming in, and that's undocumented. There isn't vetting. We don't know who is on our soil. And we're so concerned about fighting Ukraine's battles,
For
but we
democracy.
have war, right? Democracy. We have war happening below us. Uh, Not to mention all of the Afghan refugees that we've brought
Oh
over.
my.
They were vetted, and then they were dispersed in the middle of the night all over our country. A lot of them in red states.
Mhm.
So, what what is happening? What are your thoughts on? I mean, what
So
should we
I
be
had a guest on my show at the end of December. Maybe it was the end of November. I don't remember. But I had a guest on my show who worked on a documentary. I think it was a Daily Wire documentary on the border. And he was the camera guy. And he was telling me a lot of things that I had no idea, right? And there are so many people coming over the border, but actually, how do we know how many are coming over the border? If they say
great
2
point.
million, probably way more than that because we're
Right,
not actually keeping track. So that's like a rough
right,
estimate. Like how the actual heck do you know that? But
right.
he was talking about how the cartels and the coyotes have like this wristband system
Hmm.
with different colors mean different amounts of money. So I
Oh,
think really what we have to ask ourselves is how much of this is actual human trafficking that we're turning a
right,
blind eye to? How much of this is drug trafficking? How much of and who is making money off of this? Because I
right.
don't know, Castro and Pablo Escobar, they were all kind of CIA assets, I think. And so at what point do we go, okay, how much is the government actually like uh, funding this and making money
Right.
off of this and okay with it? I think that it goes way beyond, oh, they just want to stay in office. I think we have to dig deeper than that and think, okay, we cannot honestly be this stupid.
Right,
Like,
right.
our
Seriously.
leaders cannot honestly be this stupid. So, what do they have on you to not fight? And why aren't you doing anything about it? Because if a camera guy doing a documentary can uncover a bunch of this stuff, then
Right,
why in the actual hell is our government like just fine with it
right,
happening right
right.
in front of our faces? And for us to act like it's not going on is so ignorant.
Right, absolutely. No, it's but the other day I said something about where I don't trust three-letter agencies. My husband didn't appreciate it, but
Mm-mm.
I'm like, it's true. It's true. Like, how can
Yeah,
we trust them after seeing what's been happening with the January 6th commission? How can we have any trust that they have civilians in their best interest? Like, my trust
yeah.
for them is completely broken. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
like,
I
I
have
don't want to paint
none.
everyone with one brush, right? Because that's really crappy when they do that to police. I don't want to paint them all with one brush, but I'm talking like
No.
leadership, and then you have those that are just gonna
Leadership.
be soldiers. They're just gonna be
Well,
soldiers and do
everybody
everything.
like not everyone will know what they're doing. Like it's not like the
True.
average border agent is like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally letting people in because so and so is making," but they have no idea. They're just
Right,
useful idiots, right? And not that
right,
they're idiots themselves, but the puppet masters is like, how do we not know who the puppet masters are? And how have we not gone after them? For
right,
reals. If we know who they
right.
are, then why are they still allowed to do what they're doing?
Yeah, exactly. You make a
It
lot of
just
great
makes no
points.
sense.
I'm sure you're blowing minds all over the place on here because it's things that, we don't see this everywhere. Even I know you and I both follow like a lot of small media sources. Like there's people boots on
Mhm.
ground in Ukraine right now, and but it's a lot of stuff, and everyone likes to label us conspiracy theorists, and where it's like, gosh, but they keep coming true. So
Yeah. But, like,
come
is
up,
it a conspiracy if it's, like, on the government's website? Like, is it a
right?
conspiracy if the Senate
Great
actually
point.
did an investigation and I'm just reading off what the investigation found? Like, is that a
Right,
conspiracy is it a
right.
conspiracy theory, though? Like,
Yeah. I think they're still leaning
is
on it.
it?
They're still leaning on that. They just love to paint us all white supremacists, even if we're not white. Just conspiracy theorists. We're all just it's just crazy. Yeah. If you know where to research and where to go find information, which a lot of the people on the left don't take the time to do,
No,
then you
they
can
just
know what
want
to say.
regurgitated information from CNN.
Exactly.
Oh, CNN will read it and then they'll just regurgitate the information to me and just barf it
Right.
all over. And then guess what? I know what I'm talking about now.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
New York
Exactly.
Times or whatever propaganda outlet you want to read.
Right. 100%. Back on the banks. I mean, it is crazy. You talk about like the bank piece with what's happening in Canada, and I it could very well happen here. We think about like the convoy, the U.S. I don't feel like we're going with the Freedom Convoy. I think we have a couple convoys going, and they have two different names. But anyways,
Yeah.
we have one right now. What did it leave California 2 days ago? And then we have another one that's leaving
Hmm.
Washington State on March 1st. I might try to go up there. We should go.
Yeah, we
But
should go.
that would be awesome. But the scary thing is there's already been threats from the government. If you fund these guys, we could do the same thing basically that Canada did. And you think, oh, the banking system, they wouldn't do this. Well, think about, and I'm just thinking how
Okay.
like the general public thinks, not like you and I, but we think about what happened with January 6th when the FBI or CIA, whoever went to Bank of America and said, we need all your bank accounts, anyone that traveled to Washington, D.C., and spent money around this time. I don't know what data figures they used. B of A gave them these bank statements and this customer information. And then
Hmm.
they used that to go arrest people. And they're probably still sitting in jail being treated horribly. So,
Yep.
so we are so far from the days where this would never happen to us. So
So far from
yeah,
that. It
yeah, we
is
really are.
happening at our back door. And the more we just kind of, go around and act like it's never going to happen, the more opportunity it's going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
And all those people that we save as freedom fighters, you're welcome. Because they're so
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you're
Seriously.
overreacting. Like, am I though? Like, am I?
Yeah.
Am I
Right.
overreacting? Or do you just have your head in the sand, swimming
Right.
in it like an
Yeah.
ostrich?
Seriously, I know. Yeah, it's so frustrating. And then those people, I don't know if you ever feel this way. You feel like, wow, am I a lot? And then you're like, no, they're
I
just
know I'm a lot.
sometimes I'm like coming out with all this information, and then I'm just like, you can see the look on people's faces. They're like, I'm like, okay, am I a lot or is it them that's not enough? I don't know. Maybe, maybe somewhere in the middle. But yeah,
That's
that's
so funny.
oh goodness
Uh,
gracious.
Krista, how do we get Republicans to do the right thing and no longer be tainted? We really gotta dig into Republicans and who might have a hold on them. We need to figure out like why Dan Crenshaw is the way he is, for example. He's
Right.
one that I'm like, you're a freaking snake in the grass. Like, who
Absolutely.
were you planted here? And we really need to we need to start weeding those people out, because I think at this point both parties are so corrupt at their core. Like in California, to go to the GOP like Republican convention, you had to be vaccinated.
Oh, wow. I did not
What?
know that.
Like, we
Wow.
don't need to go into that like whole issue, but why would you require that if you're like the Freedom Party? Get out of here.
Great point.
Right? So
That's why,
who
on
at the
that same
top needs to
topic.
come out? What?
Absolutely. Well, so I learned something yesterday. I was speaking with Mark Thielman's his manager, his campaign
Mhm,
manager. And so we were talking and she was blowing my mind with a few things because it's always been where to be able to get onto to the main stage for the debates, for the primaries, you had to have 100,000 in funding and then or in donations and then 1,000 donors. And
mhm,
so, but now they're moving the bar. So now they're like, well, so and that was for the GOP. And so now they've changed it and they're saying no, that's not, we can actually move it. It just depends on the media company that we go through and who's going to be televising it. And they're like, wait a minute. And then they're probably going to be planting because these most people that are running right now are grassroots. There's likely a few talk about planting some people like a Crenshaw. They still have what week and a half to plant some folks. So you can stick in whatever snake they want. They stick them in there, back them, fund them, and there you go. So and then you have that same corruption. So it's one of those things where we just need to support the hell out of the grassroots folks that we know don't have that backing from these
yeah,
big names. And I mean, yeah,
ugh,
it's so tough. It's dirty.
100%. It's really dirty. What I did notice when I started pulling who's running is that we have so many districts here in Oregon that have nobody running in their election at all on the Republican side at all,
Right.
like for House seats. for Oregon House
Right.
seats. Like my district, I'm in 36, and there's only one Democrat running, and it's not even the incumbent. She's not running again. It's a new dude, and no one's running. I was like, do I throw my name in there? But I was like, I don't even know the first thing about what the requirements would be, and I would not want to be a Republican. I would run as a libertarian just because
Right.
the amount of people that we have registered in Oregon for Republican Party, like I don't even want to deal with the Republican Party, to be honest. They don't
Right.
even want to
Right.
win in the state anyways. And so, but I wouldn't even, that's going to take a lot of research, but it's like, we can't
Yeah.
allow that to keep happening. Every
Right.
single district needs to have someone running. And if the only reason, the only reason is to drain the funds of the other side, then that's what needs to happen. We need to put up
Right.
a fight and at least try, because we don't know if we're going to lose unless we try. And
Right.
some people are like, well, we don't want to take money away from the bigger races that matter more. I'm sorry. The elections around Portland actually do matter, and people are pissed.
Yes. You are so right. You know
So,
what's funny? I did that same thing yesterday. I was diving into some research and it shows, so I have, what do I have? I have district 4, 5, and 10 in Oregon.
mhm.
And I went and looked. Thankfully, 4 has a Republican running unopposed, but then 5 and 10 have Democrats running unopposed. So then I was like, okay, maybe this is my calling. And my family was like, do not do that to us. So anyway, so I quickly decided against it. But
Uh-huh.
it's like, it's, the doxing. I think that's really what my family's main thing. They don't want to be doxed. My husband's a police
Yeah.
officer. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just,
I
it's so
if
tough.
I
My
was
kids,
I don't
yeah.
so my ex-husband still would be like, "Are you serious, Krista?" And
Yeah.
my son's not going to public school, and so I feel like if
Yeah.
I were to do it, I would just need to make my address anonymous.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm
Seriously.
sure
Yeah,
people could find it.
I know.
But
They're
yeah,
crazy.
I know. And that's a part of it here too, is like, well, okay, so one of my friends a couple years ago wanted me to try to run for city council. And so he's like, let's meet with a campaign person, blah, blah, blah. It was before coronavirus. It was like the last run, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that we met with a person, and she was like, don't do it. Your son's in public school here,
Mhm.
and you're going to get death threats.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, I can't
Horrible.
then.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I
I
know.
can't put myself into a position like that. Like, if I was well, I am single, but if I didn't have a child, then I would do it no problem. I'd be like, well, fine. I'll just take
Right.
some gun training, some extra
Right.
self-defense,
Yes.
replenish my black belt skills, and like
I love
it'll be
it.
fine, right? But
Right. Right.
I have to think about my kid, so
I
I
know.
didn't do
I'm
it.
the same way. I'm the same way. I told somebody yesterday because I have people asking me to do it, and I'm sure I know you do too. So it's like, but I was like, look, honestly, I said the same thing. I'm like, I have thick skin. If it was just me, bring it on. But it's not. I'm
Yep.
responsible for not only my kids, my husband, but my parents, my sister. Like, it's just like they dig up everything on anyone, and it's just not cool. So I made sure to
Mhm.
have a family conversation, just like what you're saying. It's like it impacts everybody, and the ultimate was no. It wasn't even like, well,
No.
let's think. And they're like, do not do that. But
Like, please don't.
I know. So anyways, but yeah, but there are so many great people out there that could do it. And so and I know we're running up on time, but I just want to say I found something out yesterday I did not know for Oregon, because for the primaries, you have to be a registered Republican to be able to vote in the primaries for the Republican candidate. And
Mhm.
apparently 2 years ago, they were people would go in to vote and, oh, I don't show as a registered Republican anymore. So everyone should be checking that. Anyone in the state of Oregon, and if you live in a state that has closed voting, go check and see. Even if you're not happy with the Republican Party, which I'm not either, I want to be able to vote in the primaries. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
double check my status. But
Yeah.
it's
I know. I
awesome.
So it might even be worth just, switching
Yeah,
registrations just to be able to vote, and then switching back if you didn't want to
exactly.
stay.
Exactly. Seriously. I mean, there's no shame in my game. I'm happy to do that. All right, Krista,
Mhm.
where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Krista Hilton. You can find Drunk Republic there as well, or we have a YouTube channel called Drunk Republic, and our website is drunkrepublic.co, just co.
I won't make a reference on the drunk thing. No, I know you're not drunk, but that was like perfectly timed. And you have some awesome merch too. So I think everyone should go check that out right away. But thank you so much for coming on. You are such an interesting person. I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
And you think outside the box, and it just challenges me to think differently too. So really awesome collaboration. And I just appreciate everything you're doing. Obviously, people love you. Lots and lots of activity over here. So I'm going to go back and read after we're done here. I want to go back and read those and respond to some.
I know, right?
Yeah, pretty awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, and
Okay,
I
thanks for
appreciate it
having
very
me
much.
so much.
Oh, anytime. Have a great night. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Krista is amazing. I'm serious. Like, my mind is blown every time I talk to her. And it inspires me to go and research more and more. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be live again next Thursday on KSOK Uncensored. You can find us at ramtv.live, my YouTube channel, KSOK Uncensored. And you can find us on Facebook, Ram TV. So thank you so much. Have an amazing evening and stay focused on what's happening here stateside.